Hello! I have returned after spilling some salsa at that. Whoops. Alright. Well, fortunately none of it got onto my my copy of my my Guildmaster's guide here. That would be no bueno. So I'm just going to set that aside so that I don't spill salsa. As, you know what? I may not have a cat in here right now. I mean, cats have been in here. None have showed up on stream. But what is a stream if I'm not eating, right? So Spillheart, welcome back. Vasil Zeju. I remembered, correct? Vasil Zeju. Welcome, and thank you for playing Black Flag in commemoration. I have been Captain Morgan on more than one occasion, apparently. All right. Well, you know what? We went over some of the basics for character creation in the new Ravnica supplement. And I think it's time that we make a character. Hey, Imagination, welcome. It's time we make a character. And I'm also glad I remembered. I told you I'd try and work for it, Vasil. I just got to say it enough. Ravnica is a lot of fun. And we're going to start making a character now, Imagination. Alright, here is our handy-dandy guide. And we're going to be following the spirit of it, but we're not going to be referencing everything out of the PHB. Before we make our new character, our new ones anyway, I want to go over the characters we made prior out of the Unearthed Arcana, which I don't think much has changed with them. But they're going to be included in the party as a continuation. So we had a Death Cleric that was a female Simic hybrid who took the folk hero background. Now remember, at the time it was just 4 races. And we also made them guildless. So it would make sense that they don't have guild backgrounds. And that's fine, because guildless exist in Ravnica. This one took Mantiglide and Acid Spit. Now, these were randomly rolled also. We didn't choose them. This life chose her. And this is what led her to be this kind of anti-hero for her part of the district that she lives in. And aside from that, I mean, look, a Death Cleric's a Death Cleric. The class and the archetype aren't changed. We put our proficiencies in where they needed to go, and there we have it. So we had a oh yeah, we put some personality notes on her as well. But you know, a lot of the character creation, as you know, is really comes out in the background. Because that helps you explain who you are, what you do, your hobbies, your first job, etc. before adventuring. Our second character we randomly rolled is a Loxodon, a female Loxodon. We also rolled was an evil character, and we said, well, I guess we have 2 anti-heroes then. And so they run a racket in their district, sort of like protection money, right? And she rolled up as a Fiend Chain Warlock, who is a spy or a hired killer. She had powerful build, natural armor. Now, this is where we do see something that's different. What would have to change, right? Natural armor, as it was described in Unearthed Arcana, and we translated over here to our character, was AC 13 plus Dex. This would now change to AC 12 plus Con. because it is a Loxodon in the published form. Also, if we notice, oh, come here, Loxodons don't have stone cunning. Now, it does say that they are gifted stoneworkers, but there is not a mechanical... this doesn't manifest mechanically. They're not just large dwarves, which was a little bit of a gripe I had before. So we would have to get rid of stone cunning. We'd have to modify natural armor. Keen smell stays. The trunk, we could make an entry for here. Powerful build we have. Loxodon Serenity. So that was... we have advantage versus frightened, so that's what's represented up here. And it looks like that's really all we'd have to we'd have to change out. Now we can go back and do that. I don't want to spend our time right now to tweak the old characters. I want to make a new one. So let's bring up the handy dandy guide, which this can be found on our Discord if you like it. I've had people ask for copies of this. We're going to have to reference our books to fill in where we would normally reference a PHB, but the methodology will remain the same. XCat asks, can you make a clarification? Are you only against extra planar spaces in terms of items and spells, or does that bias include locations on different planes? I do not, in my personal game, not even the Tuesday one, in my personal game, other planes do not exist. It is a universe, not a multiverse. And there is no extra dimensional storage in terms of Heward's Handy Haversack, a portable hole, a bag of holding. And so therefore some of the some spells that involve planar travel either just don't exist, or we modified it to work in a different fashion. Devils and demons I don't use as monsters. Or if I do, I reskin them as something else. And as for what kind of a religious hell would be, it would just be that you don't move on from the world. Instead, you sort of linger and reside. And so therefore, you know, your hell is... you're a part of a world in which you can't interact. Time changes, people pass and move on. And you don't get to ascend to what the culture considers heaven, which is the moon. And I had a campaign where the characters went to the moon. It was very interesting. Space, XCat, as per our space. They had to take a rocket ship. You linger in the world, hell is other people. Well, I mean, yeah, that would drive you crazy. Especially because other people can mess with your soul or your body. Like necromancers and such. So you can be You can be desecrated, you can be used, you can be abused. All sorts of stuff can happen. XCAT, if it existed, it would have to be something like that, but I've never really felt the need to run demons or devils in my world. People are our own worst enemies. And so most of my campaigns have been just about that. And that's why I don't need extra planar forces. We are our own undoing. And so a lot of the campaigns focus on that. And so I don't want to distract from that by having other worlds taken into consideration. Pardon me blowing my nose. Oh, possibly. I mean, we'll see. The world that has been made is the world. You know, if I do anything else, like the Tuesday game doesn't take that into consideration. All right, let's roll to see if we have a male, female, or a multi-class character. We're rolling multi-class, everyone. Hey, more of a chance to get a druid or a cleric, right? I'm going to re-roll again to see if we are male or female. Female. All right. So we have a female character. As for race, let's go up to the chart of the races here. We're excluding humans and elves, so we're not worried about them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to roll a d6, and we're going to find out which of the 6 Ravnican races she is. 6. We have a Vedalken. Okay. Let's see. While we're here, Vedalkens are... They start at 5'4". We're going to add 2d10 inches. 8 inches. So she is going to be 6 feet tall. And now we're going to take 2d4. And we're going to multiply that by 2d4. 8. All right, so we're adding 64 pounds. She's 174 pounds. And then let's look up her age since we're doing some of the fluff material. Goblins, Loxodon, Simic, and Vedalken. Vedalken matures slower, reaching maturity at 40. Their lifespan is typically 350 years. Okay. So... that would put us around... that'd put us around dwarf. So we'll roll a percentile and find out where in her life cycle she is. At 96, she is ancient. Okay. So in this case, this is probably going to be her last adventure. An ancient Vedalken here. with some living to the age of 500. So I guess I'll roll a 150 sided die and add that to 300. Just to give a little bit of wiggle room, I suppose. She's 414 years old. Okay. Now, her alignment, we're going to roll 2 percentile die. $61.44 is going to put us into true neutral. Hey, well, as a Vedalken, this is very appropriate, huh? Especially as one as aged as her. I'm sure she's gone through, phases in her life where she's, oh, I was chaotic aligned in my youth. Oh, you should have seen the mischief I was up to. Then I had my evil rebellious phase. Okay. Now let's determine the level at which we're going to generate her character. With an 88, we're going to generate her at level 19. She is venerable, is she not? So you know what? She hits level 20, she can die in peace. She lived a good long life, didn't she? This means we could open up to stat bumps. Now, depending on the classes we choose for her, the split, it could be different. Because remember, you get your ability score increases or ASIs, unless you're a fighter, every 4 levels. And then at level 19. But it's based on your class. If you're a level 8 character, but you have 6 levels of rogue and you have 2 levels of wizard, you would have only gotten 1 ASI off of your rogue, despite you being character level 8. Because you're going to have to hit either 8 rogue or 4 wizard to get your second one. I hope that makes sense. So be careful. But let's see how many of these that we have open to us will be feats, if any. It's all her, baby. All her. All right, now we get a background, or in this case, we're going to be choosing our guild affiliation. So let's go to the top because there is currency, months of the year. Here we go, random guilds. She will be affiliated with, on a 1d10, for the Golgari Swarm. Okay. Azorius. Well, all right, we'll come back to that. There's a couple other things we still need. We're going to need her 2 classes, right? She's multi-classed. So, here's our big golden D12, and we're going to roll this twice. Her first, and I guess we'll make this her primary class, like how she got started, and then she'll have picked up whatever the second one was along the way. 10, Sorcerer, with her subclass being 1, a Barbarian. A Sorcerer Barbarian. That is true. You cannot cast while you're raging. So in this case, maybe this is what's helped preserve her life also, is these spores, right? She's not a Circle of Spores druid, but being of the Golgari, maybe they were given to her as a gift of service in order to help preserve her. Okay. At level 19, how do we want to split this up? We could go half and half. That could be interesting. Or in this case, I guess we would go 10 Sorcerer, 9 Barbarian. Although, let's look at the subclass real quick. And when do Barbarians get Brutal Critical at 9th level, a Path feature at 10th? So I don't know, maybe we'll go Ability Score at 8. Maybe we'll go 11. 11 Sork, 8? Let's see what Sork gets. Meta Magic at 10. So I guess what? I guess going 10 Sork and 9 Barb. Yeah, we'll have a good mix of abilities then. Now, for the subclasses, right? Sorcerers have Draconic Bloodline or Wild Magic, so I'm going to roll odds or evens. Evens. Wild Magic. Sorcerer, Wild Magic 10. Barbarian, odds or evens for Berserker or Totem Warrior. Odds. A Berserker. There we go. No, I'm going to stick to the PHB so I don't make this too convoluted, XCat, because we're already referencing the Ravnica guide, and I want to try and keep this simple as possible for people to reference. But I appreciate the suggestion. Okay, and we have our height, weight, and age. So we are all set for the random number generation. So we can put the random roll guide away. Go back over to the Guildmaster's guide here. And let's see, Demir. Golgari, here we are. Alright, Golgari, usually neutral, often evil. Human, dark elves, druid, fighter, ranger, rogue, wizard. Well, you know what? We are none of those, and that's absolutely fine. Because when you play an RPG, you can very much have an outstanding character that just defies normal convention. Drawn to the darker side of nature, the greener side of necromancy. You're drawn to sinister, creepy, or grim characters. You like elves and druids, but want to explore an unusual direction. Joining, we can read all this, and this can, it's sort of a mild, very fresh salsa. Very fresh salsa. But this is kind of a general application. But again, we're making a special character. This character is still a part of the Golgari, and it's up to us to figure out how she got involved with them. You know, what's going on that maybe she earned this gift. Maybe she needs an infusion of spores every year or something in order to keep her going. All right, XCat. Good luck to you, and I hope you have fun. Thanks for hanging out with us and for sharing your art on our Discord. Especially, you brought up that very good point that you can make maps with Wonder Draft. So that might be something that I work on myself too. So be well, my friend. Oh, all right. I'll be sure to bring it up when we finish up with this project, XCat. Golgari Agent. Our skill proficiencies are nature and survival. Tool proficiency, a poisoner kit. Languages, choose one of Elvish, Giant, or Crawl. So I guess... Elvish, Giant, or Crawl. I guess I'll just put EGK for a question mark. And we're going to get a Golgari insignia. We will actually receive a poisoner's kit. A pet beetle or spider. I'm just going to put pet critter. A set of common clothes. And a belt pouch, which contains 10 gold worth of mixed coins. Yes, Diadems. Wonder Draft is the name. Our background feature, Undercity Paths. You know, hidden underground pathways that you can use to bypass crowds, obstacles, and observation as you move through the city. When you aren't in combat, you and companions you lead can travel between any two locations in the city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow. The paths of the Undercity are haunted by dangers that rarely brave the light of the surface world, so your journey isn't guaranteed to be safe. This is very similar to Urchin. Undercity Paths. All right, now, because we have guild affiliation, and this is something to consider for your homebrew campaign, an equivalent to a Golgari is going to have access to certain spells that is enhancing its spell list already. So, for example, Golgari, alright, so for you, the spells in the Golgari Guild spells table are added to the spell list of your spellcasting class. If you're a multi-class character with multiple spell lists, these spells are added to all of them. Cantrip, Dancing Lights, and Spare the Dying. Entangle, Ray of Sickness, so these are options that you can take. Now, they are not going to be automatically prepared for you. But what this would mean is if you are a bard and don't have Spare the Dying can fill one of your cantrip slots as a bard, as a Golgari bard in particular. Does that make sense to you? Now, do any of these break the game? You're still limited, right? It doesn't give you an extra cantrip. It just gives you an extra choice about the cantrips you can choose to incorporate into your character. Anyone else see the Death Knight in the Monster Manual? Imagine with a little bit of changes could be a Lich General. Yeah. In fact, if you want to know about Death Knight Spillheart, I would recommend reading the original Dragonlance trilogy, and you'll learn a lot about him. Mm-hmm. Lord Soth indeed, Plunder Loot. Pardon me. This salsa makes my nose a little drippy. I'm so close to the microphone. All right. Members of the Golgari Swarm are unmistakably products of the undercity, ill at ease amid the comforts of civilization. They bring out the same discomfort in others by reminding them of death's inevitable approach. Personality traits. Here we go. 2d8. 2 and 3. 2. I like to remind people of their inevitable demise. And 3. Sometimes I give voice to the whispers of the rot, which I hear, but no one else does. Ooh. Now, our ideal, well, let's roll our 3d6 for our ideal bond and flaw. 422. Ideal number 4. Interdependence, not independence, interdependence. We are all part of nature's web. Our bond is number 2. I have an identical twin who is as different from me as any person could be. Ooh, this is why, as a DM, you gotta look at your player character sheets. We just have a major plot point, an NPC that was just generated to accompany the PC here, and will act as an attractant, a hook. It could be a villain. Now, here's the question. At least if we go off of basic concepts, what is the opposite of true neutral? But you know what? It could still be true neutral. We just got to look at it differently. Flaws, number 2. I assume that anyone outside the Golgari looks down on me. This could possibly even include her own twin. Now, we have a contact also that comes with this background. Contact is a D8. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a roll twice. So, contact 1 and 2. Roll twice on the Golgari contacts table for an ally and a rival, and once on the non-Golgari contact. So we're going to make this Golgari contact. And this is going to be ally, rival, and then we are going to have our non-Golgari contact. All right, so our common, do I speak it? 2d8. Let's roll it. 7 and 6. All right, our ally is a Medusa. Decided it would be more fun to recruit me into the guild than to kill me. And our rival is number 6. An elf lich is determined to see me become a lich someday too. Okay. Chaotic evil or lawful good? Those could be considered opposites as well. Oh, yeah, plunder loot. I Strahd is, read I Strahd itself. Because it'll, especially if you've played Curse of Strahd, read it after, and you'll get a good appreciation of Strahd. But the war against Aslan involves a lich, and it will take you into the mind of a lich. It is very well done. So I would recommend that to you, Spillheart. I will support Plunder's recommendation to you about that, because I know that you like liches and the concept of them. All right, our non-Golgari. It actually looks like this is a, this might be like a Medusa. Yeah, this is like a Medusa Circle of Spores druid, and this must be one of the fungus zombies that they raised. Pneumonica, Aslan Rex was an awesome character, probably my favorite in Ravenloft. All right, our non-Golgari contact is going to be on a D10. 7. My undercity explorations led me into an Orzhov vault. And a spirit thinks I stole something valuable. Wow. This character can bridge Lone Survivor into whatever we come up with just by this contact alone. This non-Golgari contact can be the same spiritual mentor that Byra and Winifred both hold in esteem. I love it. It works out very well, doesn't it? Open yourself up to randomness. You can make it work. Have fun with it. Okay, how do I fit in? These are... Alright, so these are roleplay considerations, campaign considerations. They're things that, we can look at, but I don't want to necessarily put down onto the character sheet because we're going to be doing something a little bit special. Every member of the Golgari Swarm has its place, and every role is important to the proper functioning of the guild. Aside from a few leadership positions, the Swarm doesn't consider different functions to be more or less important than others. The idea of progressing up the ranks is foreign to the Golgari way of thinking. That said, your renown within the Golgari is a direct measure of the Guildmaster's knowledge of you, his confidence in your abilities, and by the way, the Golgari Swarm is headed by an elf lich. Hashtag just saying. At the start of your career with the Golgari, the Guildmaster and his chancellors have no way to distinguish you from the masses of others who perform a similar function. If you receive instructions from the High Chancellors, the orders are directed toward you as part of a larger group. For example, Reclaimers, keep your eyes open for an Izzet key rune believed to be lost in this sector of the sewers. Alright, so figuring out renown... I could just roll something. But, we'd have to explore that, I think, to apply. She's going to have a special role. Now, the party's not going to be level 19. Keep this in mind as well. We're generating her at 19 as a practice in going through character creation. But when we make the story, we're going to scale it, starting at a certain level, ending at a certain level. Several types of liches, says plunder loot, varying in power, motives, faults, flaws, desires. Designing a lich from scratch is not an easy task if you do it properly. There are good liches, aka Baelnorn liches. There are good liches if you look in the Forgotten Realms, in Faerun. There's actually a lot of liches. And not all of them are evil, plotting to take over the world, or at least not in a malicious way. Guess there's always exceptions to the rule. Roleplay guide on how the Golgari tend to see the other guilds. Your character can very much go with the flow and have the same opinion, or not hold one way or the other. Considering she's Vedalken, considering she's true neutral, you know, she probably looks at all of them, heck, even the Golgari, as having faults and benefits. Since we're here, I'm going to take a look at Renown real quick, just to see. Starts thinking of 3 contacts, an ally in their guild, rival, and an ally or rival in another guild. House Demir is an exception. Oh, I guess we should roll if it's an ally or a rival here. Table entries. Okay, you roll twice for your guild, unless you're House Demir. First roll gives you an ally. Second gives you a rival who might be friendly, jealous, or antagonistic. You roll once on the table of contacts for other guilds. Renown. As you advance the goals of your guild through your adventures, you become an increasingly important part of the guild's activities. You might rise through the ranks, eventually taking up a position at the right hand of the Guildmaster, or even becoming the master yourself. Your status in your guild is measured by your Renown score. As you increase that score, you gain the opportunity to advance in the ranks of the guild. When you join a guild as a starting character, your Renown score with the guild is 1. Your Renown score increases by 1 when you do something to advance the guild's interests, assuming that other members of the guild are aware of what you've done. Each guild's description in this chapter includes a discussion of the goals and role if you're pursuing these goals, which your DM will use to judge whether you earn an increase. All right, so yeah, it's this is something optional, kind of like in the DMG, you can measure honor. There's honor scores. There's sanity also. So this is a way for you to really get invested into Ravnica and into being in a guild. So for this character, I mean, she'll have a renown of some kind. Now, a level 20 character can have, I guess, a level 1 renown if you haven't necessarily done a lot for the guild itself, or that the guild appreciates. You could be doing well by a lot of other people, but your guild doesn't see you as especially valuable despite your epic level. So this is really just contextual to the story, but you know what? This concept, if you're a DM, can really help pull the party together in terms of finding common goals and common ground in order to have their characters advance through the guilds themselves. Okay, so there's our background. So I think we have a good idea of our character, right? Remind people their inevitable demise. You know what? Hers is coming up too, right? She's ancient. In fact, she's probably just held together by these spores. In fact, in order to really appreciate the balance of life and death, she has an ally. Medusa decided it would be more fun to recruit me into the guild than to kill me. What if the spores are actually fighting back a stone curse that the ally, or so she was recruited, maybe even a bit forcefully, by the Medusa, who was going to turn her to stone with her gaze, but the spores hold it off, and the spores and this this process, this war inside her, to turn her to stone or to turn her into a mushroom, are kind of battling and have lengthened her life and have made her perhaps even painfully aware of life's cycle, how quickly it can just end. There's a lot of roleplay that we can draw from this alone. All right, now that we have that, let's get into our multi-class for our... Actually, no, we need our racial stuff first. So let's go up to Vedalken. Here we are. Your intelligence increases by 2, so let's float an intelligence 2. And our wisdom increases by 1. Let's see. Vedalken. All right. All right. We already have our height and our weight. Our base speed is 30 feet. So that's going to give us a climb of 15, swim of 15, fly of 0. We have Vedalken Dispassion. Advantage on all int, whiz, and charisma saving throws. I guess we could just go int, whiz, cha. Saves. So we don't even need to take up room down here. You're proficient in one of the following skills of your choice: Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Performance, and Sleight of Hand. And we're proficient with a tool of our choice. Let's see. Being as old as we are, Golgari, we have a poisoner's kit. Medicine is pretty close. Let's see. Medicine, that could have life and death be in balance. And what is medicine but a low dose of poison? I like to remind people their inevitable demise. Sometimes I give voice to the whispers of the rot, which I hear but no one else does. All a part of nature's web. I have an identical twin. I assume anyone outside the Golgari looks down on me. Medusa, Elf Lich. I think medicine is really going to work for her. So we're going to put, for tireless precision, as a reminder, medicine plus 1d4. And for a tool of some kind, probably a healer, an herbalism kit? A healer's kit. Well, no, if she collects things, I think an herbalism kit would work. Medicine, herbalism kit, plus 1d4. Poisoner's kit, herbalism kit. Check Discord. Oh, snap. So here's XCat. So XCat was making a dungeon. Here's an underwater part. Doing an awesome job rocking that as a dungeon creator. And Dark Wolf made Mordecai with the live chicken beard. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Wild magic does some wild things. And actually, we made a wild magic sorcerer. Maybe she has given someone a chicken beard before. Exactly, New Monica. What else do we get? We are partially amphibious. And we can speak, read, write Common, Vedalken, and another language of our choice. So Common, Vedalken, and something else. In addition to Elvish, Giant, or the other one, which is spoken by Minotaurs, I want to say. Let's take a look real quick. Languages, 9. Okay. Here we go. Crawl. Language crawl, spoken by the crawl, and the script is crawl. All right then. That, I guess, is a monstrous language? I'm not familiar with crawl. I'll have to look up what that is. Yeah, Dark Wolf, it did seem like it still had your flair, but it did look different. So it did look like you tried something new for it. And I would say it's successful. It looks really good. Thank you for sharing that. All right, now that we have that, well, class, we're going to build a sorcerer. We're going to build our sorcerer first, and then we're going to multi-class into our barbarian. Now, something to consider, and this is going to be in Chapter 6 for customization options. You have to have certain prerequisites for not only the class into which you'll multi-class, but your original. Meaning that for a sorcerer, we need a charisma of 13. For a barbarian, we need a strength of 13. So we'll need to make sure that when we're creating this character, she has that. And this is interesting. You know, for being very neutral, I mean, she will be just that, right? Her bonuses are spread into two things that aren't necessarily used primarily by sorcerers or by barbarians. She casts off charisma, swings with strength, but she has a decent intelligence and wisdom. So, first things first. We're going to build 10 levels of sorcerer. And even though we're multi-classing, you just build it as you're doing this, okay? Which means we're focusing on this right up here. We are a D6 hit die, and you know what? As we're taking 10 levels of it, we have 10 D6 hit die available through sorcerer. Armor, no armor. Daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. Weapons. Actually, that might be rendered. Multiclassing might render that. I'm useless by our barbarian training. I'll have to look into that. Barbarian, shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. Got it. All right. We're getting this through Barbarian. I'm just putting it down now. Shields, simple, martial. Okay. So I don't need to put the list of that down as we're generating it at level 19. Now, if you're building this one step at a time, you will want to note this and then override it when it's necessary. But we have the convenience of building it all at once. No tool proficiencies. Con and Charisma are our proficient saves. Con and Charisma. Skills, choose 2 from Arcana: Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. Well, let's see. We're very balanced. We're focused on life and death. Part of nature's web. Led me to an Orzhov vault. So I think religion would be big. If I'm to become a lich, maybe. An arcana. That seems to be calling out. Arcana and religion seem to work. Now, if you all think differently, you're welcome to throw out a suggestion. And, and we'll... If I change it, that's fine. This is our character, not mine. And I want to make sure that we're going through the steps together as a group. Equipment. Look, we're making a level 19 character. Starting equipment, you get starting equipment. I'm not necessarily worried too much about that. I mean, we could put down light crossbow or something when we make our weapon attacks, or when we fill in this part of the character sheet here. I'm not too worried about it for generating this character, though. Spell casting, we'll get to that. We will have some meta magic. And we will have sorcery points. Let's see, by 10th level, we have 10 sorcery points. And we'll know 6 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll know 11 sorcery spells, and we'll get 4, 3, 3, 3, 2 as... Now, if Barbarian offered us spell slots, we would have to take that into consideration. But because we don't have to, we're just building a Sorcerer and then a non-caster on top of it. It's going to exist as Sorcerer exists. All right, sorcerers, we do not get ritual casting. Remember that, as a sorcerer, you cannot cast rituals unless you take the feat for it. Meta magic. Let's see, at 3rd level, you gain the ability to twist your spells to suit your needs. 2 of the following, and we get a third. Yep. So we get one at level 2. All right, at 3rd level. Level 3. Level 3, and then level 10 gives us another one. I like indicating when you get those, so it's easier for you to know and track. Now, your meta magic can say a lot about your personality, your fighting style, just a lot about your character. So, I mean, at your own tabletop, maybe you want to play a damage output character, and so do so. Choose that with your meta magic. If you want to go into role play, you know, if we're saying that she's very, improvised weapon and loincloth, well, that's all a barbarian needs. If we're building off of her personality, maybe that's what will help her choose, right? So we have someone who maybe is distributing her, she's distributing her points out kind of evenly, so she may not be the best spellcaster or the best sorcerer, and she won't be the best barbarian, but I think we can really do a lot to, we can still do a lot by her spell choice in what she would choose to do. So if you take a lot of spells that perhaps don't need to target people or hit as hard, and instead they provide buffs or debuffs, that kind of an effect, then maybe you want something like an extended spell. Spillheart says a quicken spell. When you cast a spell, it targets only one creature. It doesn't have a range of self. You know what? She's a twin herself. I think it would be kind of cool if we gave her twin spell. See, she's very neutral. She talks about, inevitable death, interdependence. We're a part of nature's web. So in that case, I don't think she'd take Careful Spell, because if something was going to happen, it's going to happen. Heightened Spell could be good too, right? Especially Golgari are about the inevitability of death and even the inevitability of rebirth. Whoops. Windows key. Heightened Spell could be good for that. You're forcing that save at disadvantage. Yeah. Spells with extra duration. An extended spell, I think, would work out very well as also. Very good recommendation, XCat. All right. Next up, she is going to get something from her wild magic. So from her sorcerer archetype, we gotta break these out. There we go. And sorcerer class. Wild magic. Wild magic surge. So when you choose this origin at first level, your spellcasting can unleash surges of ooh. Interesting. She gets advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Huh, if only she was a barbarian first, that'd be very interesting. She would have gotten strength and con as the ones that she has proficiency in, and that would really make her super well rounded out. I mean, I'm sticking with how we rolled it, but just considering that would be very interesting. You know, you have this very calm, you have like a dispassionate rage. Ooh, that could be very flavorful, very interesting. Anyway, Wild Magic Surge. Immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell, DM can have you roll a d20. If you roll a 1 on the Wild Magic Surge, all right, so that will happen. Then we're also going to get Tides of Chouse. Must finish a long rest. Anytime before you regain... you can manipulate the forces of chance and chaos to gain advantage on one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Okay. We also are going to get Blind Luck. You have the ability to twist fate using your wild magic. When another creature you can see makes an attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw, you can use your reaction to spend 2 sorcery points and roll 1d4 and apply the number. And we're not high enough to get Controlled Chouse. That's fine. All right, now that we have that, we need to go through and indicate that by 10th level, we know 11 spells. So let's reduce this, and I'm going to show you a really good way to do this. We're going to put Sorcerer. Spellcasting is off of Charisma. Cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we had 4, 3, 3, 3, 2. All right. At first level, you see how we know 2 spells, and at third level, you see how we know 3, but we still only have level 1 slots open to us. What that's going to indicate is at level 1 and level 1, and then level 2. Now, you can, as a sorcerer, you can go back as you level up and you can replace spells, or if you can learn, look, we can learn a spell between 8th and 9th level, right? We go from 9 spells known to 10. That can be a level 1 spell. You don't always have to push the boundaries. And you're not always stuck with the same spells once you've chosen it. But you only get a limited number of reselections unless your DM says otherwise. But if we're going through, I guess, standard, you know, if we're just filling up to our capacity, we come down here at 3rd level, bada boom. Now we can cast 2nd level spells. And so level 3 goes here. That means level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there we go. And of course, going through and picking out the spells we know is going to tell our character's story as well, right? She's developing powers, perhaps in reaction to her environment, in reaction to, training or concentration, or even she's submitting herself to chaos to just grow wildly. There's a lot of different ways that your spells are going to speak about your character. Imagine this. If you make a D&D character, and if you handed me your spell sheet, presumably, I, as a keen observer, would be able to glean information about your character, your personality, or the adventures you've been on, because you have taken spells that act a bit like a diary. I guess for wizards, it's a literal diary. Though in this case, the spells you pick up as a sorcerer might very well be sort of like battle scars. You know, you've earned them along the way. You've grown stronger. You've adapted. Hey, DJ, good to see you back. What I miss? We went over some basic stuff in the new Ravnica book, and now we're making a Vedalken multi-class sorcerer barbarian. And sorc points, we have 10. There we go. All right, now that we have made... we've made our sorcerer. Let's tack on 9 levels of barbarian. Now, your multi-class area in Chapter 6 is going to give you different proficiencies, okay? So you do not get all of the proficiencies that, well, apparently my head is blocking, but you're not going to get all of those proficiencies. Your multi-class will tell you what you pick up. Now, you will get hit points. So, for example, we come over here. We have 9 levels of barbarian, so we have 9 D12 hit die off of barbarian. Now, and when you take a short rest, if you have different pools of hit die, you can choose from which you want to draw healing. You gain a blue dragon arm, then level up around the same time and pick up a lightning bolt. Coincidence? I think not, says Spillheart. You can roll it like that too, right? If it's wild magic, we have the Golgari, different things are happening. Yeah, you could run with your DM and have a flavor along those lines. All right, so for Barbarian class, up to level 9, well, let's see. Proficiency rides on your character level, not a class. So by level 19, we have a +6 proficiency. I should have filled that in first. All right, anyway. We are going to get... So we can rage 4 times a day. And our rage damage +3. So we will be able to rage, and we'll get all those benefits. We will get unarmored defense. So that is strength plus dex plus con if we're not wearing armor. Plus a shield if we so wish. We can make reckless attacks. Danger sense. Advantage on dex saving throws against effects you can see, such as traps and spells. So now we have advantages on int, whiz, charisma, and dex saving throws. So long as we can at least see the dex. Primal Path will fill in. We are going to get an extra attack. We will get fast movement, bringing us up to a 40, and therefore 20 feet climb, 20 feet swim, 0 fly. We will also get Feral Instinct. So honed that you can have advantage on initiative rolls. Hey, that's pretty good. If you're surprised at the beginning of a combat and aren't incapacitated, you can act normally. And at 9th level, we get Brutal Critical. You gain 1 additional weapon damage die when determining the extra damage from a critical hit with a melee attack. Remember, melee. It won't work if you crit with a Sorc ability, unless your DM somehow says otherwise. And maybe, I don't know, butter up your DM. Maybe she or he is open-minded to cool effects like that. If you make it work story-wise, or if you're willing to, kind of take a hit somewhere else, then you'll get a benefit here. Consider it. Talk about it. Now, Berserker, we are going to get Frenzy. So we cannot be charmed. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Mindless Rage. We're going to get that too. But Frenzy, you can make a single weapon attack as an extra. That's how I was swinging on my Tuesday group with 3 attacks. Frenzy, Mindless Rage. That's the one. We can't be charmed or frightened while raging. Nice. Lots of good advantages, and now we have some immunities. And don't forget that we get damage reduction if we're raging, also on weapon attacks, non-magical weapon attacks. And we don't quite have Intimidating Presence. But you know what? If we go 10 and 10 Sorc Barbarian, then we'd get that at level 20. And you can use your action to frighten someone with your Menacing Presence. When you do so, choose 1 creature you can see within 30 feet of you. So in that case, as we said, that she's carrying herself with this like dispassionate rage. So the simple fact that she is seething with anger yet maintains this blank face is probably very disconcerting and can upset people because of just how seemingly unnatural someone like this can be. There is not going to be time after this XCat because once I finish this, I'm going to call it a night, as I'm going to have to be going to bed here. But I do appreciate you asking because I know you make a lot of good stuff. So if anyone can hop over into the workshop and give some feedback to XCat, I can't do it on stream, but maybe we can touch on it at a later time. Well, it is a wild magic sorcerer and a berserker barbarian, DJ. All right, so here we go. We've filled in our multi-class. Now we have to, we have our chassis. Now we have to drop the engine in it, right? Remember, we need at least a 13 charisma and we need at least a 13 strength in order to pull this off. We're going to start with the standard, standard array, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Yeah, you're very welcome, DJ. Because that's what we're building and having some fun with here. What can we do here? So she starts as a sorcerer. So maybe we drop... 15. 14. $13. Unless maybe 13 should go into con. $12. Ooh, this is tough. She's so whole, right? She's very balanced and is pulled in two different directions through Sorcerer and Barbarian. This is very interesting to try and build. She doesn't have to have the best charisma, though. Right? She needs a minimum 13 strength. She needs a minimum 13 charisma. So maybe we give her the 14 there. Maybe we put the 15 in... Maybe 15 in strength. 13, she's very durable. 12, 10, 8. She's not too dexterous. I kind of like this. Now, we're going to get 4 ASIs, right? Level 4 Sorc, level 8 Sorc, level 4 Barbarian, level 8 Barbarian. Might have Borba, my currently Berserk Barbarian, Orc, once half-Orc, end up going down the path. Just need to get her Charisma up to 15 in the future. Well, if you multi-class, the minimum's 13. If we do that, that's going to bring her int to a 14 and her wisdom to an 11. Then we have 8 points that we can drop into our scores here. So maybe we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six, 7, and our last one we can drop into 8, because remember, having a 17 strength score may not increase her modifier, but it means she can carry more. So if you ever find yourself with an odd kind of a dangling number, drop it into strength. It'll provide a mechanical benefit. I'm happy with this. Jump is also strength score based. XCat. 3, 0, 2, 2, 1, whoop, and 3. This is going to be saving throw 3, athletics 3, dex is going to be 0 down the line. Look, you know, she's getting on in her years. She's just not as dexterous as she used to be. Con, ooh, the save is going to be 8. Let's see, 2 for the saving throw, history, investigation, and 8 for arcana, nature, and religion. 1, 1, 1, 1. Medicine is 7. Survival is 7. And then for charisma, our saving throw is 9. And then she's just kind of at the skills. What are ways that you can increase charisma besides leveling up? If you practice your charisma skills a lot, like you're going out, you're trying to learn, like if you're trying to educate yourself on how to deceive, intimidate, make a performance, to learn how to act or something, or to give public speeches or the like. If you're trying to constantly use the skills, your DM may be open-minded to advancing your a score up in some capacity. A lot of that's really good downtime activity stuff to do. Our passive perception is going to be 11, 10 plus our perception modifier. Now, she has a name, everyone. What is her name going to be? She's no longer just a set of scores here. Let's see, armor class. Well, that's really going to depend. If we just go 10 plus dex, that's 10. So maybe she takes mage armor, right? She can extend it and go higher. If she goes with her unarmored defense, that'd be a 12 because it's con plus dex plus 10. Pardon. So if we just go without a spell, it's 12. Initiative is going to be plus 0, but she does have advantage. Vedalkens do not have dark vision. Now, hit points. This is important. Especially when multiclassing. You only get your maximum hit die of hit points at level 1 of your first class. That's 6 for a sorcerer. Now, we have 9 other levels of sorcerer, right? We're a level 10 sorcerer. 9 times half plus 1 of the hit die. Then we get 9 levels, all 9 levels of Barbarian, which is half plus 1 is 7 because it's a D12. Plus bonus hit points equal to your con modifier, which is 2. Times all levels. Doesn't matter. You could have levels in everything. It's your character level that it's based off of. And if you ever increase your constitution score, it's retroactive, right? It floats. If you're level 10 and have a +1 con mod, and you increase that to a +2, I guess we'll say at level 12, that's when you get your next ASI, let's presume, then you're going to get 12 more hit points. I hope that makes sense, and if you have questions on it, please ask. But your hit points will always search back in total, up or down, depending on what happens to your con score, and subsequently your modifier. So this is our equation for our hit points. So we have 6 plus 36. 9 times 7, that's 54, that's 63. And 2 times 19 is going to be 38. So this adds up to 99. This is going to be 105. That's going to be 105 plus 38. So that is going to be, plus the 5 is going to be 43. 143 hit points. Not bad as a sorcerer, right? I mean, a multi-class with a barbarian, but... DJ wants to name her Alara. There we go. Weapon, I'm just going to put if she's wielding a strength weapon, if she's wielding a dex weapon. With proficiency, her attack is going to be at a +9. With a dex, it'll just be at a +6. And of course, you get your modifier on the... so, it'd be weapon +3. Weapon +0. If we're attacking with our spells, that's based off of charisma. That's going to be a +9 to hit with those. And the difficulty class to resist is going to be 17. Because it's 8 plus your attack bonus with that class. Now, mind you, if we rolled, let's say, Wizard, we were Sorcerer or Wizard, we would have to split. Our Wizard spells would be based off Intelligence. Our Sorcerer spells would be based off of Charisma. Even if it's a spell that either can cast, it depends on how you're casting it, as a Wizard or as a Sorcerer. And you got to keep track of those separate numbers. But Barbarian, nice and easy. We don't have to worry about that, huh? She is medium-sized. And you know what? All we got to do now is pick out some spells for her, and she will be complete. Well, pretty much. I think we still need a language, technically. Sorcerer. So we get 6 cantrips, huh? Not too shabby. Oh, we don't forget. At being in the Golgari, our Sorcerer spell list is expanded by, come on now, Golgari contacts, Golgari guild spells, dun da da da. So we can weave in Dancing Lights and Spare the Dying into this. Now, Dancing Lights is already something that sorcerers can cast, but Spare the Dying isn't. And, you know, if it's part of our personality where we remind people of death, that sounds like something that perhaps we'd take. So let's take Spare the Dying, and we're going to make a note that this is a Golgari spell. What else are we going to take? What would be thematic for someone like this? Probably Chill Touch. It's very deathly, I think. She could take... I think Poison Spray would be thematic for a Golgari. See, she lives in the Undercity. She doesn't have dark vision, so probably Dancing Lights. Now, if we want, we can say that she learned this, you know, as a Golgari as well. It is on the Sorcerer list, but, you know, maybe she got this from others. What else? Let's see. Mage Hand, she can use these extended spells on. And she already has 2 attack spells. I wonder if... Message could be good. Let's see. Twin spell, heightened spell, extended duration. Blade Ward could be a good one. Extend your hand, trace a sigil of warding. Until next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks. So we could do that even... Ooh. That also would count for magical. Blade Ward could be good for someone especially who has a low armor, but high con. Welcome back, XCat. All right, now let's let's pick out our sorcerer spells. For level 1, Golgari gives us Entangle and Ray of Sickness. And Ray of... actually, so neither of those are on the sorcerer... oh, hang on. Maybe there... No. Ray of Sickness is. Entangle isn't. I don't know if she's necessarily all about the more druidic or the plant-based. I mean, we are a part of nature's web. Sometimes they give voice to the whispers of the rot. Ooh, well, Ray of Sickness might be good for that. And again, I mean, we don't have to, but we can tag it as Golgari. Mage Armor. And Fog Cloud could be a good one. All of our choices, I think, are also going to give her a lot of good consideration for her meta magic, for twinning a spell, heightening a spell, or having an extended duration on a spell. At 2nd level, Golgari spells Protection from Poison, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Spider Climb. Reminding people of their death, I think Ray of Enfeeblement is going to do a good job of that, Golgari. Can we get that otherwise? No. So that is actually going to be truly a Golgari spell that we learn. And, lots of good ones here. And Large Reduce could be fun. We had some fun with that on Tuesday. Web could be interesting. Actually, that could force a... let's give her Web. We're a part of nature's web, aren't we? Hi, Bob. I just found your stream. I'll be playing D&D for the first time, and it'll be a Ravnica campaign. I'll be playing a Gruul Druid, and I'm a bit unclear about Wild Shape. The player's handbook says that a Druid can become any creature they've seen if it has the right challenge rating. And according to the Guildmaster's Guide, any beast described in this book or in the Monster Manual can roam the rubble belts. Could I actually just turn into absolutely anything, provided I have the... That you have the what? And it's no problem, Bob. Hey, this is a workshop. We're open to this. What you may want to do, I mean, if your DM says, you know what, if it's a menu, just choose what you want out of the Monster Manual. Some DMs will just say that. Other DMs might say, well, I don't know. We live in a more Arctic part, like an Arctic zone of Ravnica, where it's almost always cold. And so you growing up here might have only seen Arctic themed or Arctic survivable creatures. And so your DM might have you make a catalog of monsters that you have seen. So communication with your DM is going to be important here. That way you either know if you have an unlimited menu of beasts that meet the CR out of the Monster Manual, or monsters that are in the source book here, or if your DM might say, well, as DJ said, you know, what level is your starting character? It's at level 1. You pick 10 creatures that would have lived in the area you grew up. In fact, the campaign might be taking place in an Arctic climate, but maybe you grew up in a tropical region of Ravnica. Because remember, Ravnica is a city-wide planet. A planet-wide city. A city-wide planet. And so you could have grown up around tropical birds and predators and boa constrictors and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, you know, you're going to change shape to that in an Arctic environment. It could be interesting. You'll definitely catch people off guard. So, like Asgard in Marvel. Or if it helps, Coruscant in Star Wars. So yeah, Bob, this is really going to depend on your DM, because your DM is going to say, yeah, just, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, pick something that works. Or your DM is going to want you to catalog monsters as you go through your adventure and have that be a part of the fun. Where you're trying to go on a safari and you're trying to understand more animals so that you can turn into them. That could very well be a part of your campaign. So, Bob, I hope that advice helps. Without some more information, or without being able to talk to your DM directly, I can only open you up to thoughts to bring up with her or him. So when you're ready to start, you'll know if you need a list, or if you just need to, I don't know, bookmark whatever you can turn into, because you've committed your life to studying all these animals from all different zones. And if you have any more questions, or you have to, if you have others to continue off of that, please ask. All right, level 3 spells as a Gruul: Animate Dead and Plant Growth. I mean, both of those sound really... Animate Dead, I think, is going to be very good for her. Golgari. Plant Growth or something else? If all things must end, Dispel Magic sounds really good, actually. Fireball, Fly, Gaseous Form, Haste, Hypnotic Pattern. Slow, Stinking Cloud. Maybe Stinking Cloud would work. That forces saves, and I think the duration can be extended if she really wants to combine stuff. Level 4 spells: Guildmaster's Guide, Giant Insect, or Grasping Vine. I don't know if either of those are necessarily up her alley. So let's take a look at level 4 spells. Banishment, Blight. Blight, I think, would work. Ooh, Polymorph could be good. Is that thematic for her? Let's see, she worked with a Medusa. We're saying she's infected with all these spores. I'll definitely talk to my DM about it. Thank you very much for the advice. My DM hasn't told us exactly what the campaign will be about yet, but I'll make sure to clear it up with him before we start. Well, yeah, communication, Bob. Anything about D&D aside, any sort of math or any of that, just remember communication is key. D&D is a mutual storytelling game between a group of friends or family. That you all just decide on some arbitrary rules to abide by as you're telling the story. That is the core and the heart of D&D. That's how you, quote-unquote, win D&D. You have fun telling a story. So make sure you always fall back to, can I explain or can I talk about what is going on in order to try and resolve it? And you will find that that creates a great time, lots of other ideas. And also, as a DM, if you come to me with a special request or a question, I will be more open-minded to granting you what you seek if you're able to support it in some way with some logic or some cool storytelling elements, or it's not just, you know, hey, give me this spell because I think it's powerful. And, you know, sorcerers don't normally get Animate Dead. I mean, I know I'm going off of what we just put in here. Golgari are getting it mechanically, but, you know, just going up and saying to your DM, yeah, I want Animate Dead because I think it's cool. That's not a strong reason. Why would I give you Animate Dead? Why would that be intrinsic to you as a sorcerer besides it sounds cool to you as the human being playing the sorcerer? especially if you know, you're focusing on like AoE fire spells or something. Now, if you come up and say, well, you know, I am a bit of a firebug, and I do cause a lot of destruction, but because of that, I might be able to bring people back with Animate Dead, at least to some capacity, and have them continue to be useful in some way. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, you have the same firebug sorcerer, but you're providing me as the DM with something to consider. How would it play out? What circumstances could arise over the course of the story naturally, or that I could develop to insert into it to allow you to use this? And now all of a sudden, yeah, that actually makes sense. And in fact, ooh, that'd be really cool. I don't have to reveal what I'm going to do as a DM, but you've enriched my mind, which will enrich the story. She wouldn't take polymorph, I don't think. If death is inevitable, you know, or death is change, well, no. Polymorph might actually let you experience a lot of different deaths by being different creatures and living different lives. Is sort of some sort of, ooh, yeah, I like that. Polymorph. Because it's some sort of like a reincarnation cycle or a way to get into it. Lastly, our level 5 spells. We have access to Cloud Kill, ooh my, or Insect Plague. Well, Cloud Kill, actually both of those are available to a sorcerer. Animate objects, Cloud Kill, create. Ooh, Cloud Kill and creation seem like that could be really neat, right? The kind of the death and the life, or at least like the construction of something. I like that. All right, we're gonna go Cloud Kill. It's technically a sorcerer, but we're gonna label it Golgari, and we're gonna give her creation as well. Bada boom. There we go. I mean, technically she has a pet beetle. We could fill out the companion sheet for that. But I don't know if that's really necessary. Here's Alara, our female Vedalken Golgari agent, who has 10 levels of Wild Magic Sorcerer and 9 levels of Berserker Barbarian as we randomly generated her. I think she's a cool sounding character. She works. She's thematic. You know, what she says and does makes sense to her personality and her abilities. She's functional. You know, she's not just like shoehorned in to be some one-trick pony. I think we have a solid character. Roxy, you think that she should have Insect Plague instead? Yeah, actually, maybe we'll do Insect Plague then instead of Creation. Since that's more of inanimate objects, we'll do Insect Plague. You're creating beetles. It's the life part of death. Good suggestion. There we go. She is super Golgari as a sorcerer. She's been paying attention to her Guildmaster. Vedalken's about perfection as a race. I think by being this true neutral personality, you know, balancing, you know, demise and life and all this other, I think that she is able to extend that. And we also took her demeanor into consideration for her rages and how she rages, but she still maintains this very calm demeanor. But that is a good piece of flavor to remind us of, DJ. XCat says, in the future I want to do some kind of character that has a metal staff that has multiple god symbols all the way down it. He'd be like a bookkeeper who basically updates his set of gods through prayer and record keeping. But does he keep like a scroll in the staff? Or I don't know if I necessarily understood what you're getting at, XCat. Alright, so she's going to join in, and you know what? Because of this, she is an excellent bridge to take us from Lone Survivor, that campaign we made a couple months ago, into whatever we're going to be doing here. It all works out so well. Again, just let the game speak to you and through you. Let the randomness happen. It's an exercise in your imagination to make, you know, to connect the dots. And it'll be organic. It'll be very unique, right? there's a very low chance that no two randomly generated characters are going to be the same. So you'll have a unique character that may not be the best. Look, she is at level 19. You figure that she'd be rocking a 20 charisma and have an extra +2 to hit. She doesn't. She has to be resourceful. She has to use her intelligence, right? She can draw on her intelligence. She can draw on her wisdom. Maybe she can use this to get advantage in a lot of situations. Maybe she can use this in some way to, use her strengths to help make up for her weaknesses. It's okay to have a non-optimal character in 5th edition. He'd pray to a set of gods and would keep a journal, basically looking into the ways of the world and being an eye for the gods. It's a cool character concept. Maybe Alara was one of the Golgari that was fighting outside that Is-It steam vent. Oh, yeah, that's true. Because we set up before going into the dungeon that the party would have to sneak through some Gruul versus Golgari turf war for this steamy jungle that existed outside this Is-It Boilerworks vent. That could very well be the case as well, DJ. That's a very good hook for the character. Great idea. She should have Elvish as a language. Well, if her, if her guildmaster is an elf lich, actually. Elvish, Common, Vedalken, and she technically gets one more of our choice. I mean, it could be Sylvan. If your DM opens up rarer languages. Primordial, that could be interesting. There's a lot of things we could have it be. Cool. Here's Alara, everyone. Welcome her to the world.